got? Can you please turn your cameras on? Thank you. I can see Tone. Hello, Tone. Hello, Tone. How are you? I can see you now. Hi, Tone. How are you?
I'm fine.
Good.
How are you?
I can see. I'm good, thank you. Michael, how are you?
Fine, thank you. How about you?
Good. I'm good, thank you. I'm good. Zung Ha. Hello, Zung Ha. I can't hear you, Zung Ha. Hi. Sorry, your picture is a bit frozen. Oh, now it's better. Wow, you have a nice jersey on, Zung Ha. Keep you warm.
Thank you.
Yeah, looks very nice. Looks very warm. Okay, who else? Kian. Hello, Kian.
Hello, Rick.
Hi, how are you?
A little bit tired, but
A
still
little bit
okay.
tired. Okay, that's good. Okay, and Hakan. How are you, Hakan? Hello, Hakan. Can you hear me?
Khánh ơi, con kiểm tra xem camera hay mic thế nào rồi?
Hello.
Hello, Hakan. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Good. I can hear you now too. Okay, that's great. So, who are we missing today? We're missing Paula's not here. Nam isn't here, I'm guessing. Who else have we got? Knock. Haven't seen Knock yet. Okay. All right, we will start anyway. See if Knock will join us later on. Now I can see you, Kian. Very good. By the way, next weekend, Kian, next Sunday, we will have a look at maps, okay? Give you some practice at maps. We will have a look at a map example next Sunday. Okay. Anyone got any questions for me about anything? No? Okay, let's get started. So I'll just share my screen with you. Hang on just a moment. And I'll show you what we're doing today. All right. So today, first of all, we're just going to look at some more idiomatic expressions. I've got a test for you, more habits, customs, and practices. You might remember we did this last week. We're going to finish off doing the writing task 1 that we did last week. You might remember we were looking at a table about various types of entertainment, okay? Over a 10-year period, we're going to look at that. And then we're going to do some speaking. All right, haven't done any speaking for the last couple of weeks. So first of all, we're looking at J idioms. The first one is join the club. Tone, can you read it for me, please?
Join club.
Yeah, can you read?
When someone has expressed a desire or opinion, meaning that report is not unique to you. It can suggest that the speaker should stop complaining since many others are in the same position. Example, for this train doesn't come, I will be late for work. Join the club.
Okay, so what this means is this is something that you can say in English, obviously, but this is very common expression if someone is complaining, usually complaining about something, and the same thing is happening to you. So for example, you might say, oh, I've got too much homework to do. I'm very tired. I've got too much homework to do. I'm very tired. And the other person you are talking to will say, join the club. It's just another way of saying me too, okay? Join the club. Same as saying me too. All right, does that make sense, Tone?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Next one, please, Michael.
Jump on the bandwagon. If people jump on the bandwagon. they get involved in something that has recently become very popular.
Okay, good, Michael. Good reading. Thank you. So I mentioned this one because I was reading about it in an online story the other day. They used this expression, jump on the bandwagon. It means people join in something which has suddenly become very popular. For example, TikTok. I'm sure most of you have seen or used TikTok, the app. So you could say for a sample sentence, many people are jumping on the TikTok bandwagon. It means many people are joining in TikTok because it's becoming so popular. Many people are joining the TikTok bandwagon is how you would say it. I don't know where the term bandwagon comes from. I don't know what that means, where that comes from, but it's just something that people say when something is suddenly very popular and lots of other people suddenly want to join in, like TikTok. Does that make sense, Michael?
Yes,
Okay, good. All right, the next one, please. Sung Ha. Sung Ha. Hello, Sung Ha.
Hà ơi. Here. No, she's not here.
She
Because
was
of
there.
the
Okay,
early-
hopefully she will join us back. All right, Kian, please. Kian, next one.
Yeah, jump ship.
Yeah.
Mean if you leave a company or institution for another because it is doing badly, you are jumping ship.
Okay, so jump ship just means to get off something that is sinking, like a ship that is sinking. You jump off the ship so you don't drown. Okay, and this phrase has come to mean leaving anything, like a company or a business or something that is doing badly. Okay, you jump ship means you just get out of it. You get out of it. Okay, so you might say, and it can apply to not just organizations, but even to something like, for example, shares. You know, the share market. Maybe the share market. Some companies are not doing very well. So you might say to your friend, oh, I don't like the way these shares are doing at the moment. I'm going to jump ship. Means I'm going to get out of these shares. Does that make sense, Kian?
Yes.
Okay, good. Hakan, next one, please. Hakan, hello, Hakan. Can you hear me, Hakan?
Hà Khánh chắc là con phải kiểm tra lại cái mic xem nào.
hello.
That's fine.
Hello.
Okay, yes.
Now I can hear you. Now I can hear you, Hakan. Okay, so the next one, please. Jump through hoops. Sorry, jump the gun. Sorry, I missed one out. Sorry, Hakan, jump the gun. Jump the gun.
Through hoops. If you are preparing something big. Okay. I'm the
Cái mạng của chỗ Hà Khánh
gun. I think
quá.
lag.
Okay, sorry, Hakan, your connection isn't very good. I could hear some of that, but not all of it. If you jump the gun, you start to do something before the appropriate time. So this expression comes from races, athletics races that you might see on TV, like the Olympic Games, for example. When they start the race, usually the person who is starting the race fires some sort of small gun. So everyone knows when to start running. If you jump the gun, it means you start doing something before everybody else. It means you start doing something before you are supposed to. Okay. Knock. I see you are here now. Hello, Knock.
I'm here. Hello.
Yeah. Hello, Nock. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good.
Good, good. Welcome to class, Nock. It's good to have you with us this afternoon. Okay, can you please read Jump Through Hoops?
Oh, okay. Jump through hoops. If you are prepared to jump through hoops for someone, you are prepared to make great efforts and sacrifices for them.
Okay, good reading. Thank you, Nock. Jump through hoops simply means that you have to overcome all sorts of obstacles or challenges or problems before you can achieve your goal. For example, you might say about someone, before she got the promotion, she had to jump through a lot of hoops. Okay, means you had to get around several, maybe pass some tests, pass some challenges before you could get the job. So jump through hoops just means you have to get over lots of obstacles, lots of challenges, lots of difficulties before you can achieve your goal. Does that make sense, Nock?
Yeah, I understand.
That's great. Thank you. Okay, Tone, jump to a conclusion. Jump.
If someone jumps to a conclusion, to evaluate or judge something without sufficient examination of the fact.
Okay, so jumping to a conclusion. There are lots of, as you can see, there are lots of expressions with the word jump in them. For example, if you come home from school one day and you find your father at home, and you might think, oh, my father hasn't been to work all day. But in fact, your father has been at work. It's just that he's come home early. Okay. But you jump to the conclusion that he hasn't been to work before you understand, before you hear his explanation. Does that make sense, Tone?
Yeah.
Okay, so jump to a conclusion just means you decide something before you have heard all the facts. Okay, before you've heard someone's explanation. All right, Michael, next one for you, please.
Jury up. Hello?
Yes, I can hear you.
Jury up. If the jury's out on issues, when there is no general agreement or consensus on it.
Okay, so these words, by the way, thank you, Michael. Agreement and consensus are synonyms, okay? Consensus means to get agreement among a group of people. Get agreement among a group of people. So consensus and agreement are synonyms. Okay, so I'm sure in Vietnam, you know that sometimes when a person who has been accused of a crime is brought to trial, there is a judge and a jury, okay, who decide if the person is guilty or not. When the jury has heard all the evidence, they go out to another room to discuss among themselves whether the person is guilty or not. And that's where the expression that the jury's out comes from. Okay, so you can say, is COVID a good thing or a bad thing? The jury is still out on that. Does that make sense, Michael?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, I'm sorry.
Having a problem.
COVID is not a very good example because, of course, COVID is a bad thing. So you can think, I have to think of something that might be good or bad. For example, is Joe Biden a great president of America? The jury is still out on that. Okay, it means there's no agreement yet on whether he is a great president or not among people in general. Okay, Michael, does that help?
Yes,
Oh,
but
okay,
I
thank you.
think my network is having a problem because I can't open my mic and I don't think that
Sorry, you can't
connection.
open
My mic.
your mic. I can
Yeah,
hear you fine. I can hear you fine.
I think it's my connection.
Okay, I can hear you fine, Michael. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but
Oh,
like for some reason, like,
okay, I hope it will get better. All right, two more of these to go. Second to last one, Zung Ha, just desserts, just desserts.
Just dessert. If a bad or evil person is their church just dessert, they get the punishments or suffer the
Oh dear. Sorry, Zung Ha, I think can't I can't hear you very well. Your connection is
misfortune
breaking up a little bit.
that
Okay, can you hear me, Zung Ha?
yes I can you hear me?
Okay, good. Yeah, I can hear you now,
Now it's
but
much
I'm sorry.
better.
Ah, that's much better. Can you read it again for me, please?
Just dessert. If a bad or evil person gets their just dessert, they get the punishment or suffer the misfortune that is felt they deserve.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, good reading. Good reading, Zung Ha. Thank you. So just desserts means someone gets the punishment they deserve. All right. So if you hear about someone getting their just desserts, they don't have to be a criminal, by the way, but anyone who has done something naughty or bad, okay, and then they get some sort of punishment, then it's said that they are getting their just desserts. Again, I don't know where this expression has come from, but it is quite a common one. So if you ever hear of any person getting their just desserts, it means they get the punishment they deserve. Okay, one more of these. Kian, last one, please.
Just for the record, if something is said to be just for the record, the person is saying it so that people know, but does not necessarily agree with or support it.
Okay, that's a slightly complicated explanation that's been written there. Thank you for the reading, Kian. So someone who says something just for the record, this is usually when someone is talking to a reporter or a journalist and they want it written down exactly what they are saying so that there is no mistake. The opposite of this is off the record. Often, actually, in movies or TV shows, I was watching one earlier this afternoon where the person was saying, I want this to be off the record. The person in the movie was saying, I want this to be off the record when he was talking to a reporter. It means he doesn't want the reporter to write anything down or associate his name with it. So off the record is like a secret source of information. On the record is the opposite of that. Okay. Don't worry too much about this one if you're not sure about this. You don't hear it very often, but often hear it in movies, funnily enough. Okay. Thank you, everyone, for reading so well. Now it's time for a test. So I'm going to share the test with you now. Last week we did customs and habits. This week we're going to do some more. Okay, I'll read this to you quickly just to remind you. A habit is something that a person does regularly as part of their everyday life. A custom is something people in a particular country do because it's part of their culture or way of life. And a practice is the usual way that something is done in a particular country or industry. Okay, so we did some of these last week, and here's some more. So these are all things which many British people do. Not just British, but other Western people as well. But a lot of these are all things that British people do. So you have to tell me which ones are customs, which ones are habits, and which ones are practices. Okay, we'll start with Hakan. Hakan, please.
Hello.
Hello, Hakan, I can hear you now.
Okay.
Okay, first one. Can you read it for me, please? Number one.
People usually wear black at a funeral.
Okay, it's a funeral. Funeral.
Oh, funeral.
Funeral. Of course, this is what happens when someone dies and everyone goes to the funeral. Okay, people usually wear black at a funeral. So in Britain, is this a custom, a habit, or a practice, Hakan?
I think it's a practice.
It's a custom. Okay, it is a custom. Okay,
Yeah,
all
I think
right.
it's custom.
So yeah, because it's been part, if you go to the definitions up here, been part of their culture or way of life for many years. Okay, wearing black at a funeral is very common in Western countries. Hakan, what color do people wear at funerals in Vietnam?
It's also black.
Also black. Okay, so it is the custom to wear black at funerals in Vietnam too. So that is a custom. Okay, so custom is the answer to number one. Okay, give yourself a mark if you got that correct. Knock, number two, please.
People often drink coffee with their breakfast. I think it's a habit.
Correct. Number two is a habit. Drinking coffee is a habit. Okay. What do you drink with your breakfast, Knock?
I usually drink orange juice with my breakfast.
Orange juice. Okay, so that's your habit every morning. I usually drink green tea. I have green tea with my breakfast. That's my habit. Okay, thank you, Knock. Number three, Tone, please. Tone.
Families have a decorated tree in their house for Christmas. I think it's custom.
Correct. All right. Having
Yeah.
a decorated tree in the house at Christmas is a custom in many different Western countries. Having a tree in the house at Christmas is a custom. Okay, it's not a habit and it's not a practice. It's a custom because it's been part of Christmas life in Western countries for many, many years, maybe a couple of 100 years. Okay, so custom is number three. Number four, Michael.
Number 4 is practice.
Can you read the sentence, please? Can you read the whole sentence, please?
Cafes often offer customer free Wi-Fi.
Mm-hmm.
And
what do you think it is?
This is practice, I think.
It is a practice. Well done, Michael. It is a practice, okay? It's the usual way something is done in a particular industry in this case. Many cafes offer customers free Wi-Fi. That is a practice. Okay, number four is practice. Number five, Zung Ha.
People dip biscuits in the tea before eating them. I think it's a habit.
Correct. People dipping biscuits in their tea before eating them is a habit. It's a very British habit, by the way. I don't see people in many other countries doing this, putting the biscuit in their tea before eating them. But many British people do this. Of course, if you do this, you run the risk of the biscuit getting wet and then breaking in half and then falling into your tea before you get a chance to eat it, which makes the tea taste not very nice, I think. Anyway, number 5 is habit. Okay, number 6, Kian.
Number 6, most police officers don't carry guns. I think it's a practice.
Correct. Number 6 is a practice. Most British police officers don't carry guns. Some of them do, but not many of them. Same here in New Zealand, by the way. Most police officers in New Zealand don't carry guns. Only some do. All right, number 7, hakan.
People say bless you when someone sneezes. Well, I
That's
think
number
it's a
7.
practice, right?
Can you say? Can you read the sentence, please?
People say bless you when someone sneezes.
Okay, and you say it's a practice. Is that right?
Yeah, I think it's a practice.
Yeah, you are right. It is a practice, okay? It's the usual way something is done in Britain. They say, if you sneeze, they will say, bless you, because it comes from an old superstition that from many hundreds of years ago, some people used to think if you sneeze too hard, you can sneeze the soul out of your body. So if someone said, bless you, it put the soul back into your body, if that makes sense. Not true, of course, but still many people, even here in New Zealand will say, bless you. If you sneeze, they just say, bless you. Okay, last one, please. Knock, number 8.
Young children are vaccinated against a number of diseases. Well, I think it's a practice.
Correct. It is a practice, okay? It's not a custom to vaccinate people against diseases, but it is a practice. It's a common thing in many, many countries, but hasn't been going on for hundreds of years, of course. Okay, well done, Knock. Thank you. So, Knock, how many did you get out of 8?
Well, I got 8.
Correct. Excellent. Well done. Okay, Tone, how many?
I got 7.
7. Okay, which one, Tone, did you get wrong?
The police activists
Oh, the
sometimes
police carrying guns.
Yeah.
That is a practice, not a custom. That is a practice. Okay, 7's pretty good, Tone. All right, Michael, how many?
8.
8. Excellent. Zung Ha.
Bé Dương Hà để máy móc không bị làm sao nhỉ? Yeah, he's not here.
She disappeared again. Okay, Kian.
Yes.
Yes, how many out of 8?
8 out of 8.
Excellent. Okay, and Hakan.
Hà Khánh ơi.
7. I have 7.
7. Okay, which one did you get wrong, Hakan?
Of course, it's number 1.
Number 1, about usually wear black at the funeral. Okay, yeah, that's a custom, not a practice or a habit. 7 or 8 is very good. 8 is excellent, but 7 is still very good because some of those are a little bit tricky, but that's great. So again, well done, everyone. All right, so you should be fairly familiar now with what are customs and what are habits and what are practices. All right, so now we're going to go back to what we were doing last week. All right. I'll just go down to the right bit. So remember, last week we were looking at this table. So this is part of the Ielts writing task 1. okay, where you have to write about 150 words on some sort of graph or chart or diagram or table or map. So this afternoon, we're continuing our look at this table. Right, so this is what you have written so far. Okay, so remember, we are using the POT acronym to guide our answer to task 1. So the P, as I'm sure you all remember, stands for paraphrase. So you can see I've put your paraphrase, okay, in the first sentence. Now, last week we looked at the O part of POT, which was overview. So I'm just going to quickly go through and correct each of these with you now. We didn't get a chance to do this last week, and then I'm going to get you to go on and do the T part, which is the 2 detailed paragraphs. So, Hakan, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, Hakan. All right. So you can see, can you read what you've written for me, please, Hakan?
Oh, the above table have a 6 cultural event includes cinemas, theaters, art galleries, classical music, concert, ballet, opera with 3 moments of time, which include first year, 5th year. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, sorry, you dropped out a little bit there, Hakan. Okay, so the last part doesn't quite make sense. All right, so the first correction I'm going to make, and I'll try do this, is have must become has. Okay, you need to use has. It's the correct form. The above table has 6 culture, and you would use the word cultural. Okay, not culture, but cultural events, as it says here. Okay, so you have to use the same word, cultural events, including, has to be including. All right, cinemas, theaters, art galleries, classical music concerts, ballet. All right, I'll take one of the L's out of ballet, and opera. All right. Now, this last part, I'm sorry, doesn't make sense, Hakan. You have 3 moments of times, which include first year and 5th year.
To write this.
Do you know what you're, do you know what you're trying to say?
With the
3
should I
moments of
choose?
times. Right, okay. So just watch what I do with the other answers, Hakan, please, and see if that makes sense to you. So this part is correct now, okay? This first part of your sentence, but I'm sorry, the second part is not correct. Okay, Kian, can you read me your overview, please?
Yes. As you can see that the number of people going to the cinema had the most significant increase over 10 years from 33% to 49%, while attendance at classical music concert dropped by a half.
Dropped by a half. Okay, Kian, that is almost perfect, almost perfect. Just one word needs to come out. Can you tell me what it is? One word. And it is perfect. It's in the first line. The word is in the first line.
That.
Yes, well done. Okay, you don't need it. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, you don't need it. All right, so I'll take that out now. As you can see, the number of people going to the cinema, okay, is correct now. So the word that is unnecessary. You don't need it. It makes the sentence wrong. All right, as you can see, the number of people, okay, is the way all those sentences like that work. Does that make sense, Kian?
Yes.
Okay, but the rest of it is perfect. Excellent. Michael, please. Michael, can you read me your overview.
Yes. In specific, the amount of people attended in the cinema and theaters have incredibly increased during 10 years, while classical music concert attendance decreased by half.
Okay, just a couple of corrections here, Michael, about 3. So you would say, in fact, you don't even need to say anything about in specific at all. All right, so this can come out. All right, you don't need it, which means the sentence starts like this. Oops. The amount of people, okay, so you need another word in here, Michael, and it is this.
Oh,
The amount of people who attended the cinema and theaters have, again, you wouldn't say incredibly increased. It's the wrong adjective for this sentence. Okay, Michael? You just, in fact, you don't even need it. Okay, again, so again, that can come out. Okay.
okay.
All right, have increased through 10 years, while classical music concert attendances decreased by half. So this phrase here is almost perfect, Michael, except don't need the yes. While classical music concert attendances decreased by half. All right. Now that's now that sentence is perfect. Have I said to you before, Michael, about KIS? I know I've said this to a few people. Have I said to you before about KIS? KIS, KIS. It stands for keep it simple.
Yeah,
Keep, yeah, I think I've said this to a few people. Keep it simple. So it's always best to keep your writing, keep your talking. If you are not sure about certain words, just leave them out and keep it simple. And like I say, it's easy to remember the acronym KISS, KISS, keep it simple. So if you are not sure, when you read through what you have written, if you think you can take out some words, take them out, all right? Such as I took out there specifically and I took out incredibly, okay? You don't need them. Okay, does that make sense, Michael?
yeah.
Okay, good. All right. So Paul is not here. Okay. Knock, please. Knock, can you read me your overview?
Okay. Overall, cinemas and theaters seemed to be the citizens' favorite destinations, whereas the number of people who attended art galleries, classical music concerts, opera, and ballet tended to decrease through 10 years.
Okay, so that's very good, Knock. That's very good, almost perfect. All right, almost perfect. I think I should give you an extra mark, maybe, Knock, because you got this correct. Okay, you put the apostrophe in the right place, which is really good. Many native speakers get confused with this apostrophe, by the way, Knock. So that's great that you know where to put it. All right, so the one thing I'm going to change, Knock, the one thing to make it perfect is instead of through, tended to decrease through 10 years, it's more common to use a word beginning with O. Can you tell me what it is?
Over the period of 10 years?
Yeah, or just over 10 years, just over. All right.
Oh,
You could say over the period, but you don't need to. All right, just like that. All right, Knock, does that make sense to you?
yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so yeah, no, you're welcome. So it's more common to use it when you're talking about 10 years to say over 10 years or over 5 years or over 6 months. All right, that is the common collocation. In other words, these words go together. So you say over 5 years, over 10 years, over 6 months, whatever, but not through. 6 months or 10 years. Over is the most common way of saying it. Thank you, Nock. All right, Tone, please. Tone.
It is obvious that while virtually cinemas and theaters have the highest percentage and tended to increase, the other four kinds of events fluctuated with the figures under 20%.
Okay, that's pretty good, Tone. All right, that's pretty good. The only thing I would change, that's great, using the word fluctuated, by the way, is a great word for when you are comparing things. All right, that's great. So the rest of you, fluctuated, all right, is a very, very good word to use when things are going up and down a little bit. Fluctuated is a great academic word to use. With the figures under 20%, it's obvious while people attending cinemas near the highest percentages and tended to increase, the other four kinds of events fluctuated with the figures under 20%. I won't correct that actually. That's pretty good. That's pretty good, Tone. Okay, well done. All right. Zong Ha. Hello, Zong Ha. Maybe we don't have her back yet. All right. So what we're going to do now is I want you to, I'll just come out of this for the moment. I want you to, all right, continue with the two detail paragraphs. All right, so you have all now written a paraphrase. You've all now written an overview. All right, I want you now to continue with the two detail paragraphs. What you're going to write about is I'll show you in just a moment when I go back to it. Okay, so in the two detailed paragraphs, all you have to do, and I'm going to keep this reasonably short. So I want you to write, I just want you to write a sentence or two each about the first three things. Sorry, the first three you see here for your first paragraph, and the second three events here for your second paragraph. Does that make sense? So remember now, using the POT acronym, we're writing the two detail paragraphs. So now you just need to write what is happening with attendances at cinemas, theatres, and art galleries in your first paragraph. In your second paragraph, you write about attendances for classical music concerts, ballet, and opera. Is there anyone who is not sure what you have to do with this? Okay, I'm going to give you 10 minutes to do this, all right? 10 minutes to do this. So I don't want you to write too much, just a sentence or two for each paragraph is all I want. A sentence or two for each paragraph. So remember, the first paragraph is about the first three events. The second paragraph is just comparing the second three events. So 10 minutes, unless you have a question for me. Okay, 10 minutes starting from now. Thank you.
Nghĩa là cái bài 1 là các con phải cố viết thật nhanh, bởi vì là nó chỉ có tổng số có 15 phút, 20 phút, nhưng mà mình chỉ được viết, mình mất khoảng 2 phút để mình làm cái plan rồi, đúng không? Xong rồi mình còn phải mất mấy phút để mình soát lại bài nữa. Cho nên tổng số cái thời gian viết cái bài này chỉ được phép trong tất cả 10 phút thôi, kể cả mở bài cả hai cái đoạn á. 10 đến 12 phút là nhiều nhất. Chắc phải luyện nhiều vào, Kiên phải luyện nhiều vào Kiên ạ.
Mrs. Ha, what can you see me moving up and down the page?
Yes.
I'm scrolling up and down the page.
Yes.
Is it moving for you?
Yes.
Okay. I hope it's not distracting to the students in
No,
that
because
case.
they have their own file to do that.
Okay, they have their own file, so they can't see me scrolling up and down.
No, they could see if they if they look at the screens.
Right.
Yes, but now they are seeing on their file.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Michael,
Okay.
tries.
Oh, good. I was worried I might be distracting them,
No,
but I'm glad I'm not.
doesn't matter.
Okay, it's good. How was your class this morning, Miss Ha?
It was fine, but there was some of them said now what COVID.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So they didn't do the class. They didn't take part.
Yeah. Because he has very high temperature.
Right. Okay. I hope they're going to be okay. Oh, and your parents are okay?
Yeah, so far.
So far. Oh, that's good. But they are staying at home.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I think 2 more minutes, everyone, to do this. In the Ielts exam itself, remember you would get 20 minutes to answer this question. So 20 minutes to do all the 4 paragraphs, the paraphrase, the overview, and the 2 detailed paragraphs.
So that's why I told them that they need to write on in only 10 to 12 because they need to spend 2 minutes to make blend. And then,
Yes.
and then some minutes to like proofreading. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, 1 more minute and I will start explaining what I can see as the main changes in percentages being. Okay, everyone, I will start explaining now, then I will look at everyone's answer. So looking at the first 3 events, cinemas, theatres, and art galleries, the obvious things to write about are that cinemas, okay, increased attendance at cinemas increased every year, okay, or every period that is measured, cinema attendance increased. So you can say cinema attendance increased over the period of 10 years from 33% in the first year to 49% in the 10th year. Theatre attendance also increased, but not by so much, going from 20% to 26% in the same period. And art galleries decreased by nearly half in that period. So the way to express this is attendance at art galleries decreased by nearly half over the 10 years. That's all you need to say, all right? For your second paragraph, all right, so the first one you look at, classical music concerts also decreased by half over the 10-year period. Attendance at classical music concerts also decreased by half over 10 years. Ballet improved by, well, you could say going from 6 to 8 is a 25% increase. Going from 6 to 8 is a 25% increase. So you could say attendance at ballet improved by 25%. And finally, opera, attendance at opera stayed mostly the same over the 10 years. You could say it fluctuated a little bit, but it stayed mostly the same. You can see in the 10th year, 6% of people went to the opera. 10 years before that, 5% of people went to the opera. So it hasn't changed by much, only by 1%, but it has fluctuated slightly over the 10-year period. So those are the sort of things that you need to say, that you need to note in your plan and that you need to write about. So not too difficult, I hope. Okay, so let's look at what you have written. Okay, Hakan. Hello, Hakan.
Hello.
Hello, Hakan. So let me see, looking at your paragraph, we can see that, okay, so this needs to be, we can see that over the period of 10 years, okay, is what you say.
Okay.
That over the period of 10 years, the percentages of cinema, actually, they increased a lot. All right, Hakan?
Oh, I thought it slightly is a lot.
Yeah, so going from 33 to 49 is quite a big increase.
Yeah.
So, for example, 33 is about 1/3, isn't it?
Yes.
1/3, okay? Whereas 49 is about 50%, isn't it? 49 is close to 50.
Yes. I just
All
thought that
right.
slightly just a big increase.
Yeah, so it is a big increase. So you could say cinema attendance showed a big increase in the first year. About 1/3 of people went to the cinema, but after 10 years, half of people went to the cinema. So that's quite a big increase. Okay, so you need to pay attention with what's happening in the table. All right. What else have you got? Theatres also increased, but not much. So you just need to make that increased. All right. All right, because it's past tense, remember? So you need to use increased, not increase, because you're talking about the last 10 years. Also theatres, and you don't need two alsos. So you would say probably get rid of this also. Theatres also increased, but not as much.
Okay.
From 20 to 26. Okay, and instead of percentages, you would just say percent. All right?
Oh, yeah.
20 to 26%. The art galleries also had a little development in 5 years. Let's have a look what happened at the art gallery. Okay, so you're looking at the overall picture.
From
okay?
11 to 6, I think is
11/6. Yes. Yeah, which is nearly, so attendance, remember we're talking about attendance, okay? So attendance at art galleries dropped by nearly half. All right? That's the main point to write about. Attendance at art galleries dropped by nearly half over 10 years. It went from 11 to 6, which is nearly half, half. Okay, so that's the important point to make. Classical music concerts also, and again, you have to say something like attendance at classical music concerts.
Oh, yeah.
All right, because remember that's what the table is measuring. Attendance at classical music concerts also decreased by half.
Oh, yeah, by
so
half.
It was also decreased by half. So you would say, you wouldn't say this, but not much in every year. You would just say classical music concerts attendance at classical music concerts. I'll write that in for you so you can see. At classical music concerts also decreased by half. Does this make sense, Hakan?
Okay.
Now we're looking at the table together. So you can see, obviously, looking at the table, classical music concerts attendance went from 10 to 5. So it dropped or decreased by half. So these are the sort of words you need to use to describe the movement, the change in attendance. All right, that's good. So ballet decreased very much from the first year. Did ballet decrease very much? It did. You were right. It decreased by a lot. Okay, but then it improved. Yes. So again, this is where you would use the fluctuated word again. All right, that one of the other students used, because it went from 6 to 2 to 8. Okay, so it's changed quite a lot. All right.
Yeah.
So it went, if this was a graph, it would go down. All right, then up. All right. So that is a fluctuation. Fluctuation is a good word to describe big up and down movements. So you would say ballet attendance fluctuated over the 6 years, over the 10 years.
A little.
Yeah. Okay. But fluctuated is a good word to use in here. All right. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Okay. All right. So without rewriting everything here, I hope my explanations helped you make sense. So again, the sentence is what I said before about KISS, keep it simple. You only have to write very simple short sentences about this.
Okay.
Okay. Next, please. Kian. Let's have a look. Here we go. More clearly into the table. More clearly into the table. Hello, Kian. Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Let me see. You wouldn't say more clearly into the table, doesn't quite make sense. You would just say something like looking at the table. All right, very simple again. So like this. All right. Can you see what I've changed it to? Just looking at the table. Another cultural event. So you probably don't need to say cultural event because everything is a cultural event. All right. So again, you can take this out. Keep it simple. All right. So just go looking at the table, theaters, just go straight to theaters. Looking at the table, theaters have the number in people attending increased slightly from. All right. So a better way to put this sentence is take theaters out of here and put it here. Okay, can you see what I've done, Kian? I've just moved theaters slightly to make the structure of the sentence a bit clearer. Looking at the table, the number of people attending theaters increased slightly from 20% to 26%. As well is a better term to use instead of besides. As well. All right, and then all this can come out. You don't need to say we have. As well, the number of people going to art galleries rose marginally. That's good. That's a good word. Rose marginally from 11 to 13% before falling by approximately half. A half. That's fine now. Okay. That's fine. Oops, go away. Sorry, I've got a funny window suddenly popped up, which I've just got rid of. And lastly, we both have, again, you don't need that, all right? So what I'm doing mostly, Kian, with yours is taking phrases and words out, all right, that you don't need, which makes it even easier. You don't have to write as much as you think you do. And lastly, the number of people attending ballet and opera increased gradually in the 10th year compared to the first year. That is true, but the one thing you missed, I would say, Kian, is this big fluctuation here, all right? All right, in the exam, they will be looking for you to say something about this. So yes, overall, between the first year and the 10th year, okay, attendance at ballet didn't change much, but it did here, okay? So you would have to say something about that.
Okay, I kind of rushed. I'm
Yeah,
just
so
combine the ballet and opera to one
sure,
sentence.
sure, but you would have to make note because this is quite a dramatic change. This isn't, you are right. With opera, nothing much has changed. But with ballet, it did. So you would have to make some mention of the fluctuation, okay, in the number of people who went to the ballet. Does that make sense, Kian?
Yes.
Okay, so most of what you wrote was okay, but you just missed out this one here, which was quite an important fact from the table. Okay, there was a big fluctuation, a big change in audience in the 5th year. All right, who's next? It is Michael. Michael, what have we got? A more visual site. Sorry, Michael, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, Michael. So I think what we would do is, let me see, instead of a more visual site to the table, again, just change that to something simple like that, Michael, okay?
Okay.
All right. Saying a more visual site to the table, okay? It's good that you use the word visual, but it doesn't quite make sense in that sentence.
Okay.
All right, so looking at the table is nice and simple. Looking at the table, other events, specifically theaters, have the amount of people attending grow significantly. Okay, I think you can get rid of this. Just put a comma here. The amount of people attending, all right, and it's past tense. Remember, so this word needs to be, what is the past tense of grow, Michael?
Grew.
Correct. Okay, so that needs to be grew. Okay, remember all this is past tense.
Yeah.
Grew significantly from 20 to 25%. Alongside that is what you would say, is the correct way to say that sentence. Alongside that, the amount of people attending art galleries, all right, has grown slightly. It's has, not have, has grown slightly from 10 to 30%, yet it dropped by half in the 10th year. All right.
Yeah.
And opera, what have you written here? Opera grew in the 10th. Again, you need to mention the same thing I was talking to Kian about, all right? You need to mention this ballet fluctuation.
Oh,
okay, Michael, so we went from 6 to 2 to 8. All right, so you need to mention, so even though it didn't change much over the 10-year period, it did over each 5-year period. So you do need to mention that. That's one thing they would look for, that you notice that fluctuation. grown slightly from 11 to 13%, yet it dropped by half in the 10th year. Okay, and please remember your capital letters, Michael.
Hey, I forgot again.
Yes. Opera grew in the 10th year to the first year. Yeah, you do refer to this increased amazing. So you probably need to use one of these percentages in this last phrase, okay?
Oh, okay.
Okay. Opera grew, and again, you would just say opera grew very slightly. So you would need to use some adjective to describe how much opera grew, all right? So opera grew very slightly from 5% in the first year to 6% in the 10th year. Does that make sense, Michael?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, thank you. Okay, who's next? Knock. Hello, Knock.
I'm here.
Okay, Knock. Sorry, Michael, are we getting some noise from your microphone? Oh, that's better, thank you. Okay. Over the past 10 years, the proportion of attendance at the cinemas. All right, so this needs to be changed to attendance, Knock, okay? Rather than attendance. Attendance at the cinemas is the highest and reaches a plateau. I don't think it reaches a plateau, Knock, okay? There's nothing to suggest that is a plateau. Remember, a plateau is where something levels off like this, and there's nothing to show that it has stayed level because it has moved so much. All right, so I think the main point to take out of this is that cinemas has increased from, like I was saying to Hakan, from 33% in the first year to 49%. So it's gone from 1/3 of people going to the cinema to nearly half of people. Half of all people go to the cinema. So that's the main thing that's happened with cinema. All right, so not plateau in this case. 10th year, compared to proportion of attendance at theatres and art galleries. And art galleries, and again, this has to be attendance, all right? And art galleries. You usually say the number of people is the correct collocation, okay? Not the rate of people. So you would say the number of people is how that collocation goes. The number of people visiting art galleries halved from the 5th year to the 10th year. Is that true? Let's have a look. Yes, it did. Actually, it halved from the 1st year to the 10th year. And the interesting thing is, it did halve from the 5th year to the 10th year. Sorry, you're correct. So the interesting thing about this one is that it rose slightly in the 5th year, but then it fell by half in the 10th year. Does that make sense, no?
Yes.
So I would say attendance at art galleries grew slightly in the 5th year, then halved in the 10th year. And you could even put another adjective in there, such as halved dramatically, okay, in the 10th year. That's how I would express that. Okay. Okay. And again, Knock, you don't need to say this, all right? This phrase here, as is revealed from the given table. Okay, Knock?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so that's fine, but you don't need to say it. You don't need it at all. So again, it's redundant. Remember, you're trying to save yourself a little bit of time here because you only have 20 minutes to do the whole exercise. So you don't want to write more than you need to. All right. So all this can go. All right. And remember what I said before about KISS. Keep it simple. All right. So the percentage of people. So you can start the paragraph, start the sentence from here. The percentage of people who attend classical music concerts is the highest at 10% in comparison with opera and ballet. Okay. Again, you would, the important thing I think to look at this is just to look at classical music concerts by itself, not? So you would see the audience or attendance at classical music concerts fell by how much over 10 years, Knock? Fell by how much? It went from 10 to 5. So how much did it fall by?
Half.
Half. Yes, correct. So that's the important thing to take out of this line, all right? Okay, so you need to look at each of these lines individually and just see what is the important thing that has happened. So that's the important thing to write in your sentence about this. Okay, Nog? The attendance at classical music concerts fell by half over the 10-year period. Ballet attendance fluctuated, dropping to only 2% in the 5th year, then rising to 8% in the 10th year. All right? Then in opera, what have you got? Okay, in comparison, yes, so what you've got isn't quite analyzing the table the way they would expect you to, Knock. And this is important. Is what I'm saying, do you understand what I'm saying, Knock?
Yes, I do.
Okay, that's good, because this is what the examiner will be looking for. So they will look for you to say something about attendance at classical music concerts has dropped by half over 10 years. Ballet attendance has fluctuated over 10 years from 6% in the 1st year, dropping to 2% in the 5th year, but climbing to 8% in the 10th year. Opera, however, has stayed mostly the same. All right. And there is your whole second paragraph. As simple as that. That's all. Very simple. So again, just look at each line individually and see what has happened. Okay. So again, classical music has dropped by half is the main thing. Ballet has fluctuated, but has ended up increasing slightly, and opera hasn't changed much. All right, so that's all you need to write about. It's very simple. Does that make sense, Nok?
Yes, I understand.
Okay, good. Please tell me if you don't. Please tell me if you don't, okay? But that's all you need to write about. Okay, tone.
Yeah.
Okay, according to the table shown, all right, again, you can say according to the table, this word is redundant, okay? According to the table, in the 1st year, people tended to attend cinemas and theaters. Yes, is correct. The attention of attendance at them with 33% and 20% respectively. All right. Again, you can take this out and change the word to was. Was 20, okay? Again, keeping it simple. So you can always keep your sentences as simple as you can. The percentage of attendance was 33% and 20% respectively. Okay, meanwhile, proportion or much lower percentages under 15%. Okay, so your English tone is fine, but again, like I was saying to Nock, you need to analyze what is happening over the 10-year period with each one. All right. Okay, so they want to know about the changes over the 10-year period. So you would say, for example, cinema attendance increased from around a third of all people to around a half of all people. Okay. Theatre attendance also increased, but not by much. Attendance at art galleries fell by half over the 10-year period, although it increased slightly over 5 years. Does that make sense, Tone?
Yeah.
So again, you are looking at what happens in each line, all right? What happens in comparison, the first year, 5th year, and 10th year. So those are the main things, again, to take out of that table. Okay, the other 4 events fluctuated with figures under 20%. So again, you would need to look at each line, just a little bit about each line in detail. So opera, ballet, and classical music. Okay. The trends in the other, and just correcting your English slightly, the other 4, okay, were not really clear, although the figures were still in the 15%. So again, you need to be looking at, and again, I emphasize this because I want you all to understand what you are trying to analyze here. You need to look at the changes to the attendance for each event, okay? Tell me how that has changed. Okay. But I'm glad you used the fluctuated word. That's good, Tone. And that fluctuated, as I said to a couple of the others, would apply to attendance at ballet. Fluctuated a lot. Okay. Zung Ha. For the first
Yes.
3, yes, can you hear me, Zung Ha?
Yes, I can hear you.
Great. The highest percentage is cinemas. The highest percentage, you would have to say high percentage of what? The highest attendance. Okay, to make that better English. For the first 3, the highest attendance percentage is cinemas. Theatres have an upward trend over 10 years. Art galleries are the opposite, to have the percentage decrease. So for you, Zung Ha, you need to quote some of the figures, all right? All right, you need to say that it increased from 33 to 49%, and it fell, art galleries fell by half, okay, from 11 to 6. Okay, Zung Ha? So what you have done,
Yes.
although you have described what is happening, you haven't mentioned any figures. You need to use some figures, all right, to support your argument. And about classical music concerts, ballet and opera, which the lowest percentage are also changed. The opera has not increased much. On the other hand, classical music concerts have changed by half. Okay. What word beginning with D could you use instead of change? Knock? Sorry, Zung Ha?
Decrease.
Decreased, correct. Decreased, decreased, decreased or dropped, okay, is better. That way, instead of saying change, because change doesn't really describe which way it changed. Change can be up or, or down. So better to say decreased or dropped. For the ballet, you can see it changes gradually by just 1%. Okay, Nok, so your English, sorry calling you Nok, Zung Ha, sorry, Zung Ha. So you see, your English is not bad, but, okay, again, you need to describe more what is happening within each line, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Okay. And that is the end. Wow, already it's past. Sorry, I've been going up and down here through this page. Is there anyone I have missed out? Is there anyone I've missed out? Okay. All right, please. Everyone, can you turn your cameras on? So I get to see you before you finish. I can see Kian. I can see Hakan. Hello, Hakan. You have very interesting lighting, Hakan, in there. Very interesting lighting. Sometimes it looks like it goes orange. Sometimes now it's clear. Okay.
thanks.
Good. Okay, Michael. Still very cool haircut, Michael.
Thank you.
Okay,
Right.
Zung Ha, still wearing the nice warm jersey. Or looks very good. Okay, and Nok. At last I can see you. Okay, so we didn't get on to the speaking part. We will do that next week, as well as looking at maps. So the main thing to take out of this exercise, okay, is to look at what is happening in each line. Does that make sense? So you all wrote about, in general, the percentages, okay, but you didn't tell me what is happening in each individual line. And that is what the examiner would be looking for in this table. So you would have to say, and I'll use two examples, that attendance at cinemas increased from 30% to about 50%. All right. Attendance at, was it ballet? Fluctuated. Okay. It went from 11, I think, to something like 5 and then back up again. So attendance fluctuated. And classical music. The audience or attendance at classical music concerts dropped by half over the period. So you have to look at each line. Does this make sense? As I say, this is important. This is what the examiner will be looking for. Look at what happens in each of those 6 lines. And that is what you write about in your detail paragraphs. All right, once you know that, it's very simple. You just look at each line and see how it's changed. Has it increased? Has it decreased? And by how much? That's all you have to do. And you use those words: increased, decreased, fluctuated, or stayed the same, stayed stable. Are there any questions about any of that? Okay, very good. All right. Thank you, everyone, for being with me this afternoon. I hope you found that useful, and I hope you understand what I say. Please, if you don't understand, please ask me. But I think, again, looking at that table, it's very important that you understand what they are looking for when you get a table, and they are looking for changes in each line. All right, so that is the thing you need to write about. And again, KISS, keep it simple. All right, just keep your writing simple. Be very simple. It either decreased, increased, fluctuated, stayed the same. Okay, just use words like that. Okay, and you can't go too far wrong. Okay, thank you, everyone. So stay warm. I hope the weather's going to improve in Hanoi soon, and stay safe from COVID and look after yourselves. And I will see you all again next Sunday. Thank you.
Thank you, teacher.
Bye.
Cô Hà vừa mới
Bye,
gửi vào trong
Tươi.
nhóm của cái bài ấy nhá. Các con lấy về tất
Bye
cả
bye.
từ vựng để viết bài 1, xong đấy có hết nhá. Chịu khó đọc nhá.
Bye bye.
Bài đi. Chào con. Bye bye. Nhá.
Very
Ok. Yeah. Cái Kiên lấy về.